I know people. So
You what, by golly, you do. Pope, come on over.
Pope, what's up, Pope? No, I called the Catholic Church and I said, look, I know this is going to sound weird, but do you have anybody you could send for an exorcism? And they're like, well, we were hoping you could help us because we're so backlogged that we honestly don't have enough people to go out and see which cases are real and which cases actually need, our actual demonic possessions. So would you like to work for us? And I was like, I have my own problem right now, so I'm not really, inclined to help you guys out because I need someone. So it was going to be, needless to say, it was going to be about a 4-month wait list to get any help. And I said,
geez, somebody could die by then.
That's what I said. I said, I might be dead by then, so I can't wait that long. I said, this thing is attacking every 3 days. I've got marks all over my arms and legs. I don't have time for this. So flash forward probably 3 or 4 months, I couldn't take it anymore, so I moved out of that house. I moved over towards the mountains to Pasadena, and it started up in that house.
Oh, it followed you from that house to the new house.
Well, oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, so I forgot. So a team member of mine had a cleanser or a girl that kind of, I call her the demon smusher, and she came over and absorbed the entity. And I was like, okay, good, we're done then. So then I moved to the next place, and it starts up again. So now I'm like, okay, it cannot be the same thing because she killed it. So I'm thinking, what the heck is here now?
Yeah, really.
So once again, marks on my arms. I got a bloody scratch on the inside of my leg, which today is a scar. I will have that forever from something unseen that I never even saw, heard, nothing. I have now a permanent scar. So then I called David and I said, do you have anybody? And he goes, well, how about Bill Bean? He's a deliverance minister. So I said, okay, I will take anything at this point. So he started praying for me on the phone and helping me. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, Bill, I'm like ready to kill myself. These demons are telling me like to kill myself and that I'm worthless. So I don't know. And he goes, nothing's going to happen to you. Not on my watch. And he called me every single day, probably for 3 weeks, and prayed for me.
Wow.
And we put olive oil crosses above my doorways. And I was like, Bill, I don't know how much more I could take of this. It's wearing me down, And even at one point, I had a computer room and I had a bedroom, and he told me to put this religious music on the computer on YouTube. So I did. And then I went in my bedroom and got down on my knees and I prayed. And when I was done, I went back in the computer room to turn off the music. The computer had completely shut down. They had turned off all the music.
Oh, wow.
And the computer. That's how forceful this thing I was dealing with was. So, but he continued to fight for me, and then he sent me 50 warrior angels. And I didn't really believe it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, 50 warrior angels. So I went to get a Reiki session, and she's like, I don't know what you've got on you. She goes, but you are so protected. And I was like, really? I am? So at some point I thought, well, maybe he did send some angels. I don't know what's going on, but everyone keeps reading this ultimate protection all over me. Mm-hmm. So at that point I started believing it, and that's when I one day was sitting on the couch, and then I literally felt all the evil and dark presence like slither down the floor and out the door, and the house filled with light. And it felt lighter, and I was like, we beat this. Bill didn't give up on me. And
right.
I stuck to it. I believed in it. I believed in the protection. I believed in a higher power, and we beat this. But we almost didn't, but that's
right.
the thing.
That's right. That's awesome. You were being oppressed, and you know what? I think the turning tide for sure was your strong belief. When you finally started to believe in it, that's when that stuff left your house. That's a beautiful thing. And you overcame it. A lot of people don't overcome that stuff. I mean, that's some heavy stuff.
No, a lot of people kill themselves. They get lost in drugs and alcohol because I help a lot of clients, and I see the beginning of what I went through starting with them. They start getting depressed, and suicidal. And I'm like, this isn't, you. This is something that has gotten in you, and we can beat this, but
Right.
you have to believe.
Yeah, you have to believe, and you got to be proactive. You got to want to help yourself too. And once you start doing that and believing, the tide turns, and you can take back your life. And that's
Amen.
great.
Absolutely.
That's
so
great.
True.
So let me ask you this, Valentina. You still investigate and stuff, or help people investigate, or you investigate on yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my question. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, what do you do since that happened? What do you do to protect yourself before investigations to prevent stuff like that happening again?
Well, I realized looking back in retrospect, back then, I wasn't properly protected. I didn't put the white light. I didn't really go to a good place because I didn't think I needed it. I wasn't aware that things like this can follow you home, whether you see them or not. So I would just go in there, we'd say a little cute prayer, and off we go. And then, it wasn't till I realized, okay, now this kind of thing will never happen. And I've actually since then worked with Bill on some of my heavier cases. I brought him in on it. And there was one incident, we went to a very oppressed house over here. And I went to one room that I thought had something in it. And I came out, and immediately there was 3 scratch marks on my arm.
Oh,
and I looked down and I said, you know what? You're not going to do this to me. I don't believe in you. I'm not going to. You're not going to have me anymore.
Not
and
today,
within
Satan.
5 minutes.
Not today.
Yeah, exactly.
Not today, Satan.
T-shirts for everyone. No. And I looked, and within 5 minutes, the marks were gone. Now, keep in mind, the marks usually stay anywhere from a few hours to a week. But because of my ultimate belief, I made the marks go away by reducing their power. And so at that point, I realized, crap, I'm really freaking powerful, in that sense. And so I can walk into any place and be okay now because of how I have changed and into such light and love and protection. So they have no interest in me at all. They find it very repulsive. They just cannot get through my shield. So I'm fearless now. I can walk into any place and take on anything.
Mm-hmm.
But so from 2010 up until about, I guess, I did the paranormal for about 5 years, and then it just naturally progressed into just accelerating my gifts and using those to heal people and help people. That's not to say I don't like a good ghost hunt, and I will get called in to do walkthroughs for people. I get called into bless houses or check if there's anything going on.
Mm-hmm.
I do, I do work on other levels, but it's more like a healing level. It's not so much, like the paranormal was really more for my own thrill of the hunt. Now I do things to help people. So it's same sort of thing, but it's turned around to be more productive and help people and move forward.
Yeah, you kind of went full circle. You had some life lessons you learned how to adapt and overcome and turn these things around to use it with your abilities to help people with paranormal problems. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So I love where I'm at now because I just I can help people. I can educate people. I tell people, hey, don't play with Ouija boards. I really get people that I see slipping into a dark place. I can help them get out of that and prevent that and get on a better path. So that's much more rewarding.
Yeah, exactly. I do a lot of the same thing that what you're saying and try to educate people, because, let me ask you this. What kind of advice would you have for new people wanting to get out to investigating? What would be your advice to them, before they ever take that first step into a place?
Well, one, don't run out and buy every single equipment that you see on the TV show. Just get a basic K2 and a recorder. And the thing is, I think a lot of people, because I have like a full kit of a lot of things, and you can only use so much at a time, if you've got all this stuff and you're manning every little thing. So get a basic recorder and maybe the K2 and learn to work those really well and just don't have too many pieces of equipment that you're trying to keep track of and monitor. learn that, and then as you go, you can do magic, with the recorders, so you don't need that much. And just get familiar with it. I don't urge taunting any sort of entity, good or bad. Nobody, even living people, don't want to be taunted and teased. So I don't like that aspect of going in and just harassing ghosts. Be respectful of them. They were once human.
I agree with you totally.
And sage, honestly, people always. I'm on the fence about the sage. I sage in between my living clients because it clears the space. But if you sage a demonic or a very low vibrational house, it usually makes the activity worse. So it doesn't do any good to sage an evil area. You only sage good, clean areas with living people and, clean that area again. But I don't urge really to use the sage. It always elevates the activity.
Right. And you must have found that through your travels and helping people that you must have come across some people that have done things to attract or invite things in, even inadvertently.
Absolutely. And they don't mean to. I think they see too many of those TV shows, Paranormal Activity and Ouija board, and, we need to do that. And then it's like, oh, crap mode. And then now they're like, well, now what?
Right, because
here.
Yeah. It's like going skiing. You're halfway down the hill. There's no turning back. Now you need help. You got to do something, And go ahead. And so I'm sure you've had to come in and help some people with those situations.
Well, yeah, and when I start hearing some of the story, then I go, did you at any point play with a Ouija board? No. I said, are you telling me the truth? Okay,
no.
When I was 5, my sister and I go, therein lies the problem. Because everything I'm hearing sounds like there was something they were playing with at some point, but they don't want to tell it. I even had a client come with a Ouija board keychain on her keys, and I said, you know what? Could you please throw that away? I don't even want it in my house. Well, really? I said, yeah, throw it all the way at the dumpster outside of my house. I don't even want it here. I said, and you shouldn't be carrying that either, not even as a joke.
Have you learned? I was just going to ask you something. I was just going to ask you something because I know in my travels and experience of 30 years of helping people and stuff, I have found, and I don't know if you've come to this point yet because I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I've found that, like you just touched on a little bit, when somebody's done something, even inadvertently, or they don't realize what they've done, they brought something in or attracted something, and then when you ask them, they're in denial, or they don't admit, they don't like to just come out and say it, and then it makes it harder to get to the root of the problem to try to help them. Have you found that a few times? Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, they're sitting there telling me, everyone started arguing in the house, so-and-so died, everyone got sick, and I'm like, this sounds like a Class A beginning of all the ingredients for somebody messing with a Ouija board and bringing something dark in, and then everything starts going downhill from then. But it starts at some beginning, because perfectly normal families don't just suddenly have things go wrong and pets start dying and everyone starts arguing. This is the makings of a breeding ground for a demon, because they have to start separating everyone, and what better way than making people argue, making people sick. So all of this is leading up to it's trying to find a focal point in a person, to make its buddy. And so when people finally admit to what they thought was seemingly an innocent little gesture of playing with this Ouija board or talking to a thing, eventually comes up and bites them in the butt, because things start going wrong immediately, because people are not, and I'm not saying that Ouija boards are completely bad, but for most people that get them in the wrong hands and aren't trained to use them, it should be left to the spiritual people.
Well, that's the thing. It's like driving a big rig or putting a gun in the hand of a 5-year-old. I mean, it's you gotta know what you're doing, or there's a train wreck that's going to happen real soon, if not. So, and I get what you're saying. I love that you can go and help people, and I'm sure you've come across all kind of stories.
Oh my God! Oh yeah, I mean it's just if it gets beyond a little psychic reading or talking to a loved one on the other side, then there's been 3 cases where I've had to call Bill in and say, look, this is out of my hands. I can only do so much. I can do a house blessing and walk through, But if it's starting to look really crazy, then it's not that I don't trust myself and my